What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Team Solemn Circus live video. It's on the left side here. Mimighoul Azamina going up against Centurion Duel on the right side. Before we dive on in too deep, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Helps the channel a lot. We're on the road to 10K and you guys' support. If you guys want to see the Azamina Mimighoul deck profile, it is on the channel yesterday. Definitely give some shout outs to Todd. Worked really hard on this deck and it is quite good. Dive on to game one. We are going to be seeing the Mimighoul deck end up going first with an activation of a Mimighoul, or not a Mimighoul, but a Wanted searching for a Diabellstar. So we're going to see the Diabellstar pitching a trap, which is going to be most commonly used in the Chimera deck. This is going to be essentially a Book of Moon. While we have an illusion monster, it sets itself back from the graveyard, which is pretty cool. We're going to be seeing Diabellstar going to be setting a Deception from the deck, and we're just going to activate, letting us go into our Azamina engine. So we're going to see Deception going to be activated here, and we're retributing off the Diabellstar. That's going to let us search for the Hallowed Azamina. So we do have access to this now, which is going to give us the Azamina potential negate as well as a Book of Moon, because we can reset the trap, which is pretty nice in this case, but we haven't seen any of the Mimighoul engine so far. We do see a Nibiru in the hand as well, so we're going to be going Wanted to put back the trap into the deck, hopefully getting another draw here. And it looks like we drew into Terraforming. We're going to see Hallowed Azamina get activate, and they do reveal, but they don't reveal for cost, but we're going to be seeing that there. And they're going to be zoning for the Ultra. The Ultra will then let us add the trap that we just put back into the deck. And what's quite nice is that it does reset itself, so we have like multiple ways of getting it back with a free Hallowed Azamina. So we're going to go Hallowed Azamina, bounce back, and then we're going to go for the Silvera, summoning it out, sending the trap card, and then we're going to be able to activate the effect to set the trap at any point of time. We do activate the Terraforming now, which is going to let us search for a Mimighoul dungeon in that beautiful QCR rarity. We're going to be seeing that QCR going to be activated there, letting us search for any Mimighoul card we want from our deck, and they do read the Silvera here. So we're going to be seeing the effect activate here, and we let it go through, searching for most likely a Dragon. Dragon is going to be one of the most powerful cards in the deck, and if you guys have seen the channel before, I love how this deck works. We're going to be seeing the trap going to reset itself off of the effect, and they do chain a Baldrake to this, banishing the Diabellstar. I'm not exactly sure why we did this. That doesn't really do anything for us. We're going to normal summon out the copy of Dragon, which can let us search our deck for either a Maker or a Room. We're going to go for the Room here, which is another Book of Moon. Essentially, we have a Book of Moon and a summon of a Mimighoul monster from the deck. And then we have Dungeon for the follow-up turn, as well as a copy of whatever it's called, the Nibiru in the hand. We do already have Maker, so we're going to be able to summon out a Slime or a Cerberus, depending on which one we do hit the Cerberus, or we do hit the Slime there, and we hit the Archfiend back to our hand. I always say Cerberus, but it is Archfiend. Archfiend's going to summon it to our side of the field, which then can flip up that Slime, and then we're going to activate the Slime effect, making us summon one from the deck. So we do see that can be forced to activate there, and then Slime's going to summon out one from our opponent's deck. And that's going to probably be either Fairy or Armor in this case. Or the Master himself. Yeah, that makes sense too. Then I see the Master effect will allow us to search for another Archfiend. And we can overlay our guys. What we're thinking first, we're going to give them the Archfiend, which is going to be taking a second to read it. And this card, whenever you flip face up, we have to lose a card, which is pretty nice. But we're going to go overlay into the Ripple Burr, which is a new card from the Supreme Darkness. It essentially, not once per turn, flips up monsters in face down in this deck. It's also a Winged Beast, so we're going to see it activate the effect, flipping it face up, and they're going to be forced to... And we do Nib here, but we chain the Silvera, and so now we're going to be activating the card in our hand. We're discarding the Nibiru that we just got negated. Makes sense, actually, really well played from this player here, the Bestial Centurion deck. We're then going to overlay up, making sure that we read the Baldrake, that it's not just our cards. Like, it just can't distribute itself. But we're going to overlay up into most likely a Giant or an Ensemble Robin. That's also a pretty good card. And then we're going to give a opponent a Dragon here, which is going to flip up during our opponent's turn and destroy everything. So we're not going to use Ripple Bird's effect because we don't want to destroy the Baldrake here. But we're going to be seeing the first card being Lubellion can be activated and allowing us to search for it, and most likely the Magnemite. Now, Magnemite will be able to hit the Silvera in the graveyard, which is going to be a pretty good hit, because we're no longer going to have access to that Azamina negate anymore. We're going to be putting the Baldrake into attack position, trying to make us beat over that Ensemble Robin, but We do then activate the Centurion field spell Stand Up. Now, I definitely don't know if this is the correct play, because if we do this, we're essentially revealing what deck we're playing rather than just playing the Bestial, which a lot of people do. We're going to go into a Lubellion here, which can set up a Regained or anything else, and we do flip on the summon the Azamina, or the Sinful Spoils Trap, which is going to set the Lubellion, which is going to be pretty nice. You know, you can tribute off the face down card, which is important to note, which is why you don't want to flip down the Baldrake. But we're going to activate the stand up, discarding, it looks like a Veiler, to set the Chimera, whatever its name is, the Trudea or Primera. I think this is Trudea here in the Dispel and Trap card zone. And it does have the ability to summon itself, but a Solemn Blue Robin will be able to bounce it back to the hand, which is pretty nice. So we're going to be seeing it summon, and then we let it resolve, which is going to then let us add the Primera. But I'm not exactly sure where we are going with this. We're going to see the hit on the Silvera to summon itself out, the Magnemite on it, and we don't want to Robin this because we don't want to bounce it back to the hand. But how are we going to kind of find a way to beat this is the question. We see Magnemite effect, and we do bounce the Magnemite back. That's kind of crazy to me. Maybe not want to go. And we do now have talents to... I don't know what we're talenting. We're trying to draw two or take. So we're trying to take here. We're going to take the Mimighoul Master. And what's really cool is you can actually flip up Dragon now and not lose the Master, leaving like essentially one body on the field. But I'm not exactly sure how we're going to go with this. So yeah, now we have two cards left in the hand, one of them being the Trudea, or the Primera, I should say, because we already have used the Trudea. And we are going to look up a ruling here. And so we're going to go now Mimighoul Room. We look up one of those cards. I believe it's the Centurion level 8 we looked up here. And we have another room in the hand. I feel like we have to summon out an Archfiend to their side of the field and then flip up that. Now we're actually going to flip down the Primera. We're going to summon out a Dragon, and then Dragon's going to activate the fight, letting us search for a Maker here. Interestingly enough. Now we read Ripplebird once again because it is going to be only during our turn. But now we try to summon out... We can't because we have Mimighoul Room here. So take a second to read. I was like, we can't normal summon. We have face down monsters. So we do take a second to do that. But we can still put it... Oh, yes, we can't put it in the Spell and Trap zone because it would stand up. Because we already have used to stand up, discarding the Veiler. We're going to go battle phase and attack with the Mimighoul Master. And we really don't want to flip up that Mimighoul Dragon. We flip it up here, and that's going to allow us to destroy, or not destroy anything, because we have only face-down monsters. Okay. So, I mean, that is a good way to dodge that Mimighoul Dragon's destruction effect. But we're going to give the back pass turn with the Mimighoul Master. I mean, we still have Magnemite in the hands, but it's not going to be doing enough. We're going to be seeing the Dragon being added back off of the dungeon, and then we're going to be normal summoning it once again, letting us search our deck for another room here. So now we have two rooms in our hand, and we're going to overlay up, leaving one of them that was already summoned, into most likely the Giant. Giant having the ability to pop stuff and also being able to add is kind of crazy. So we're going to see another dungeon being searched here, just thinning our deck as well as making our guys be able to attack directly. So we're going to attack with the Dragon directly, which is going to be at 3,000. I leave 3,500 because we have Ripplebird's effect to gain. And then Master will attack directly as well for 3,000. And we then have enough to just burn with the Giant. we're going to see Giant Effect going to allow us to burn, and that's just going to be game 1 here automatically. So we do see game 1 being won by Mimighoul, which is kind of the power of Ripplebird, giving the guys 500 each. You essentially gain 1,000 attack because you have Mimighoul Giant, which lets your guys attack directly, and you have Master at 3,000, so it's at 3,500, alongside the 3,000 of Dragon. So you're dealing 6,500 damage, and then you have 2,000 burn with the Giant, which is essentially just going to be enough for game, which is very nice. Bird having like multiple effects, and the fact that this card's also not once per turn, people don't realize that. Like they think, oh well, it's just a once per turn, which is why it's like better than number 31 and 30 or 13, but it actually is not. For not only the fact is it a winged beast, so you can also go thrust for a copy of the Harpy's Featherstorm. It also gives your guys 500 attack, and then it also is a 2x flip, which is pretty cool as well. And it has a protection effect while it's in defense position that your guys cannot. While everything's in defense position, your monsters cannot declare it. Your opponent's monsters cannot declare an attack. What's good? It's also like good to kind of prevent like killing, which is like kind of relevant if you get like Shifter or something like that in decks that cannot deal with Shifter. Now Mimighoul can deal with Shifter pretty easily, but if they did get hit with a hand trap that they kind of can't continue, they can just put their guys in defense position and then essentially not be attacked, which is quite nice. But we are going to be diving on into game number 2 with Centurion. Bistol going to end up going first here, most likely. And we are going to be seeing Llewellyn going to be the first card activating, letting us search for a Magnemite, most likely here. The Nib play, being able to Nib on that summon, unfortunately they just had too much. Like, the Nib, before they had to flip up their monster and discard a card, it was like, that's kind of crazy because it got negated with the Silvera, and then they were able to discard the Nib that was going to be useless for them anyways. So, it is quite cool. We see some technical plays even when we don't have the best. And we do see the Emblem going to be activated, placing the Trudea into the spell and trap card zone, which can let our combo just start off automatically here. We're going to see the Trudea activate the effect, allowing us to summon itself out and search. We do Ash that there, so not letting us search. And we have talents, which can rip our hand. And we see Wanted, Dragon, the field spell, as well as a room. So getting rid of the Wanted, because the rest of the cards are all going to be the exact same thing. Terraform searches for the field spell, Dragon searches for the Master, or the Maker, and then Room is just going to be an interruption card. We don't want to get rid of Room, it's going to be a slow card, but it doesn't really matter which one we end up searching for because we have access. If we put that in the Dragon, we just go for Terraforming, field spell gets Dragon, so it doesn't necessarily matter. Hitting the Wanted makes it so that we don't have access to the Azamina package at all, leaving them just on the Mimighoul engine part of their deck. So we end up seeing the Centurion going to go full combo here, going for the Gargoyle, going for a Trudea, and it's going to go up into the new one here, which is going to allow us to search our deck and then also add back. So we search for an Oath for follow-up. Now, I don't believe they were playing Bonds in this deck, which I think is pretty fine. We do play the trap card. I do know that, the Phalanx or whatever it's called, but having an Oath for follow-up is not ever bad. We're going to be seeing a set, which I'm going to believe is the Oath. And we're going to go Gargoyle Sends to summon itself out. And then we're going to go for the Lubellion now because it is a level 8 or 6 or higher Dark Dragon. And then Lubellion's going to activate the effect, allowing us to set up the Regained. Now, interestingly, we didn't even choose to Ash the Lubellion here. That's also a very interesting point. Now, I know they are playing Centurion, so you don't want to probably hit that. But we're just going to see him pass turn on this. Not even going for like the Magnemite, trying to continue our plays. We see a Terraforming now. We're going to search for the Dungeon. And we are going to Droll and Lockbird on Resolution here. That's actually huge. Because now Dragon and Dungeon are going to be pretty much sitting still. Now we did summon only once from our deck, so we can't even go for a Typhon here. But we're going to be going Dragon, and then we chain Embla here to place the Atri in the spell and trap card zone, which this is going to give us an additional draw during the next turn. So essentially going to have access to double draws for turn. Now we do get the Dragon on our side of the field, but we get to go for the Magnemite summon off of the regained. Magnemite can activate the effect, but we do go for Atri, which is going up into a Chenging at this point, and we can start banishing cards, this is actually interesting to me. We're going to go end phase. Atri's going to add itself back to the hand off the Magnemite, and we just see the confusion on how the Atri is getting added back. They reveal it's off the Magnemite. This is going to be pretty cool because we get to also normal summon and get the effect once again to draw. Now, we didn't get it last turn because of the fact that we had, we were under Duel and Lockbird, but they try to go normal summon, activate the effect of the Centurion stand-up, but we can't do that because how stand-up works. It has to be someone from the back row. They pick up the graveyard here, and they ask, can any of these be summoned back out from the graveyard? But they cannot. It's only I believe the Synchros that put them back into the Spawn Trap card zone. So we do kind of let that be told, but we don't have enough. So we do see a draw off this. We put Cheng Ying, and then we put everything else into attack position without even flipping up the dragon. And we try to go end of main. They try to go flip up a room here, but we have an Ash Blossom for this, which is going to just end the game here automatically. We see game 2 get won by Centurion Bestial. Cheng Ying is a pretty interesting card in the deck. I wonder why we would opt to play it. There's not that many banishing other than for like the Bestial stuff. But I suppose once you get Cheng Ying as well as like Regan on the field, you're going to be drawing and banishing cards pretty easily a lot of the time as well. So getting the draws and then banishing essentially every single turn, getting a double banish is going to get rid of the graveyard quite quickly, especially against some other decks that like don't or want to use their graveyard pretty simply. It's probably very good against Atlantean and stuff like that when you don't have that much stuff to be able to banish the lights and darks. You banish the light and dark from your graveyard, you get to put it back, but then you get to also banish a card from the field and the grave off the Cheng Ying as well. So kind of nice there. And of course, if you play against anything that's banishing themselves, then you get to draw off their cards and also banish cards, which is pretty cool. And Cheng Ying gets also pretty big pretty quickly, making the smaller guys smaller too. But we're going to dive into game 3 with Mimighoul end up going to go first once again. We did see a pretty good hand on both player sides. Obviously, Mimighoul game 2 didn't have the best hand, getting hand ripped and making them just play the Mimighoul, and then getting hit with Duel and Lockbird is not going to be the greatest either. Duel and Lockbird is being a lot more popular in the deck as well. With Christians being popular as well as like still having like Azamina cards running around and the water deck, and it's also decent against Malice as well. Even though Malice can kind of play through Duel and Lockbird pretty easily, but we're seeing a draw phase, a Wanted, searching for a Diabellstar once again, and it isn't that gorgeous ulti rarity from the OTS pack. Now, let me know what you guys think of the OTS cards. Are they really doing a good job now? I find that a lot of times they're reprinting cards in those OTS packs that get hit pretty quickly, or they already get reprinted in other ways, like in the Ready Collection we see in Bonanza, or like the Phantom of Yubel getting hit essentially to 1. We do go for Diabellstar, pitching the Master, it looks like, and then we also Dungeon Searched. We see the Deception being set, and then we're going to go for the Dungeon, searching for a copy of now the Archfiend, and we do go for Deception, sending the Diabellstar, and we have the Ghost Ogre for this. We now give them a monster here, and we're going to go banish, Wanted Banish to put back. Then we draw into a Nibiru there, but we're going to then normal summon out the Cerberus, or Archfiend once again, which is going to flip up the Slime if we don't have a way to stop this, but it looks like we do. We're going to chain a Magnemite on the Diabellstar. Now, we only actually play one Diabellstar, so it's going to be pretty problematic for us. And then we're going to be seeing Slime summon out the Dragon from the deck. Dragon's going to search for a Maker, and we're going to see the Magnemite also effect activate, letting us search our deck. So we're going to now go for the Archfiend, giving it to our opponent, and we do Nibiru here, which is going to be board wiping and then giving us a token. Now, the face down card doesn't go away for the text of Nibiru. If you guys have not read Nibiru, definitely should. It only does face up monsters. We do have the Maker now, which is going to actually give them a card, as well as let us summon. But we have to just choose which one we're going to do. So we're going to try to do a Dragon, obviously to their side of the field, and a Archfiend to our side. Now we do give them the Dragon, and we choose to not summon from our hand. And we are going to think on weeks up. We have Fairy as well. But we're just going to not summon there, and then end phase, we're going to see Druid Worm going to be searched, and then we're just going to pass turn on this. So we're going to go Druid Worm, banishing the Ghost Ogre, summoning itself out. And then we normal summon an Atri, but we can't because we have the dungeon here. And so we are going to now go for the... We're going to be getting close to time, which is why people are hurrying up. We're going to see the Maker going to be flipping up that dragon, destroying the whole entire field. And then we go for a Baldric, banishing the Druid Worm. And then we're going to go up into a Lubellion. We're going to be seeing them try to attack. And it's going to be bigger. They look over at the clock there. And we are in a little bit of a panic. But yeah. They read a dungeon once again, making sure that they can't normal summon, so we can't even get up into the Atri there. And it looks like we're kind of forced into time. We're going to be seeing, yeah, so we can't go battle phase and beat over anything. We're flipping the face up and they have to discard. And we see a tie being made in game 3, which means that we have to just go up into the 4th game here. We tried to squeeze by and rush through it, but unfortunately this was not enough. We didn't read these cards correctly, and Dungeon actually gives the dragon some extra attack. So we are going to be having to roll a die for seeing who's going to go first, and we are now going to be seeing in game number 4, I believe it's Mimighoul going first here. And they're explaining how the time rules work, how there's only 4 turns, and then there's first blood. We're going to see Mimighoul start off with a dungeon, and that's going to allow us to now search our deck for a dragon. Now, hopefully we end up drawing a little bit better there. We do see Droll and Lockbird getting hit here, which is going to be a very powerful card against this Mimighoul strategy. But we can still give their opponent the dungeon, or the dragon. But we're going to be seeing the dragon being summoned, and then we're going to be activating Fairy, summoning itself out, because we do control a Mimighoul monster. And we can go up into the Assembled Nightingale, setting 1 card and just passing on this. Uh-oh, this does not look good. Now, I don't believe this card can be destroyed by battle. I could be mistaken, but I haven't read. I just know it can attack directly. This card can attack directly with us, whatever, play a turn. That can't be destroyed by battle or a card effect, and you don't take any battle damage. We're essentially just stalling out here, but we have a Feather Storm flip face up, make it so that no monster gets to activate this turn. That's going to be a pretty nice card. We're going to be seeing them activate Stand Up, discarding an Ash Blossom. We do Ghost Ogre this. Now, it can't be destroyed because we do control the Primula there, unfortunately, which is going to be then setting the Trudea from the back row, or vice versa, Trudea and Primula. I get them always confused. So we just hand loop ourselves with that Ogre, but will it still be fine? We can't activate any monster effects, so we're still going to be pretty decent, as well as, not being able to destroy by battle. We're going to be seeing a Regain going to be activated there, interestingly enough. Maybe trying to get a draw with a card that we banish with, like, the Ogre. I'm not actually sure why we played the branded Regain. We kind of don't want to reveal we have extra cards in our hand. We're in, like, a very slow state. We're going to be seeing a Synchro being made, the Auxiliary, because we are in the stand-up. And we actually put it in defense position, not even trying to beat over that Assembled Nightingale, which is pretty crazy to me. Because now we can attack directly for 800 damage, and it is only 800, but we're going to be clearing, essentially here, the damage, which is going to be kind of important. And now we have access to a format Zeus. They do take a second to read the Centurion Auxiliary or whatever. And we have the Druid Worm to banish, which is going to allow us to get a draw off the Regain, but is it going to be enough? We're going to be seeing Dungeon going to activate the fight, allowing us to search for a dragon. So in the main phase 2, we can continue our plays after we Zeus. Now we go straight up into a Zeus, which is interestingly enough, because we know that they were going to be sending the Zeus to the graveyard off that copy of Druid Worm. But it's really risky in case I had a copy of Valor in the hand, crazily enough. But we're going to now go into Dragon Normal Summon, getting the Maker. Maker's going to then give us a Cerberus alongside the Slime. Now hopefully we do give our opponent the Cerberus here, or the Archfiend here. I keep saying Cerberus, but it's the Archfiend. We're going to then go up into the Slime, and then we're going to be going up into the Ripple Bird, flipping face up, and we do have to discard the card we end up drawing for turn. We then activate the Terraform. We switch it for a dungeon once again. And now we already have activated the dungeon this turn, so we can't, but we're going to be flipping a card face down, and then just ending our turn on this. So it's going to be the final turn here. It's going to be quite hard. We do end up hitting a Droll and Lockbird, and we see Mimighoul end up taking it in the game 4 here. Very impressive that we ended up seeing that there. I don't know if we should have maybe gone for the double Zeus line. If we did have a Veiler, it could have been very punishing, but we still saw very technical gameplay on both sides of the field. Regardless, hope you're watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more content like this. Just stay safe. Peace.